Greg Hardy sat down with Adam Schefter as part of an interview with ESPN, and they started to dig into and discuss the incident in which Nicole Holder, which is his girlfriend at the time, and the domestic abuse relationship that went down with that. So Hardy refused to get into any specifics about what went down that night, and quoting from part of Pro Football Talk and Deadspin. But I'm going to pull up the quotes, and then we're going to show you some pictures. They are a little bit gruesome. I'm going to give you a little forewarning. This is what Hardy had to say. This is about a year removed from the situation, but still just shows that there's almost no sense of lessons learned, at least. So, quote, "I don't think I want to get into a situation like that. It's in the past. I want to say that I'm an innocent man. I've been proven not guilty, and it's a situation that's in my past. And I feel like as a grown man, as a football player of my caliber, there are situations inside that situation where it has nothing to do with the situation. But I could have done better. I should have done better." He continues to say, this is where it gets even more annoying, because this is his response into which the pictures were released, and he was asked about it. "Like I said, that's a conversation for lawyers. Pictures are pictures, and they can be made to look like whatever they want to." No, Greg Hardy. Actually, police pictures aren't on the cover of Variety or Vogue or any of the magazines you see out there. They are not touched up like a Cara Delevingne photo is. Police pictures are official police evidence. That picture, and you're going to see 3 of them right here, look exactly like that, what that picture looks like. So I don't know what situation you're talking about, and I don't know how you say that you've been proven innocent, mostly because your girlfriend at the time, Nicole Holder, you weren't proven innocent. You were let go because she didn't show up for her testimony. So whatever might have happened behind the scenes in terms of why Nicole Holder didn't show up, you cannot sit there and say, oh, pictures are pictures. They can look like that. The situation was this, but the situation was that. And then inside this situation, with inside this incepted situation, you can dodge all the questions like a politician as you want. The reality is those pictures show domestic abuse. You do not want to own up to it. You may have realized you made a mistake, but you sure as hell do not act like you have learned at all from this.
Yeah, it's obviously shown little remorse. And this guy, I'm new to understanding his persona this year. We see him obviously a very aggressive guy on the sideline. With the altercation with, I believe, one of his coaches during the season, refusing to comment during the press conference. Just a real douchey vibe, right? But this really got under my skin. Like, how many times can people just, in this similar situation, and I'm talking about NFL as well, yeah, I know I like to come down on the NFL and how domestic abuse is a more prominent case in this sport than it is in any other sport. Go look it up. It is true. But then it gets even more frustrating when you have someone who's been involved in a case just show little remorse and make such, I would say, weightless arguments as to say, oh, pictures are pictures. Yeah, how many cases could you just bypass in the history of the fucking world by saying pictures are pictures? Ray Rice punched his missus, but pictures are pictures. You never know. They might touch that up.
That video could have been touched up.
They never know. And no, mate, there is clear damage being done to that woman which you're involved in. And that it's like mistakes happen. I don't condone anyone who's involved in that, and it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But even worse when you see quotes like that where he just seems to be showing that I had my day in court. Well, literally I had my day in court, but she never showed up. So I'm acquitted. I'm fine. No problem.
Right. So Adam Schefter, who conducted this interview, also went on a couple other platforms, including the Dan Patrick Show. And a couple of the questions were, why did he conduct this interview? I think part of the reason is it's a juicy headline, undoubtedly. You get to sit down with Greg Hardy. He's been in the news nonstop for a year. He also plays for the Cowboys, which is one of the NFL's biggest circuses.
Yeah. When I asked him specifically about that incident with this woman at that particular time, what do you mean you didn't do all right, Greg? What does that mean? And what he meant by that was, he feels like he should not have put himself in that situation around that woman at that time of night, around alcohol, and that was his mistake. He should never have done that. But in his mind, he swears he never put a finger on this woman, and people can believe what they want.
Do you believe it?
Doesn't matter what I believe, Dan, right?
Well, it does.
I mean,
with me having a conversation with you after the fact. I mean, you're still objective with this.
I'll say this to you. I went in there with the idea that everybody had, that this guy's a monster, okay? I went in there thinking this is one of the scariest people in the NFL. And I came out of there with a very different feeling about him. I came out of there with a feeling that this is a guy who has managed to say the wrong things at the wrong times, has not always made the right decisions. But I found him to be a change kind of guy, a guy that I think realizes he did make some mistakes, could have handled things differently. In regards to that incident, it's such a tough thing. I'd like to talk to more people before I made a judgment. All I can go by is what he said. I'll say this. He wasn't wavering. He was adamant. I never touched this woman.
I don't know how much more evidence you need. I don't know how much more proof that you need. Because the pictures are there, and obviously there's a couple pictures of Greg Hardy as well, but there was a scrap. That's pretty damn obvious. And it just gets increasingly frustrating. But the one thing that Schefter said that sent waves through the internet as well was on the Dan Patrick show. Dan Patrick pressed Schefter asking, why didn't you press Hardy more when you had him in that corner, when he pretty much tangled his own words into the worst excuse I've ever heard anybody say. And Schefter said, well, that's not part of my job, is it, though? Like, do we need to say that? No? It's like, well, yeah, you had a great opportunity there, but I understand in that moment. I'm not going to rip Adam Schefter for that. I thought the interview was, rewarding in the way that we have more than enough proof, not to maybe convict Greg Hardy, but we have enough proof for anybody to come out and say, I would like to keep Greg Hardy on my team. Should be a goddamn crime. The guy should be banned from the NFL. Not by commissioner statement, not because the commissioner is allowed to do that. He should be banned from the NFL because no team in their right mind should sign anybody like Greg Hardy.